Why?
Is my audio off?
Now it's better.
Okay. I was not close enough to the mic.
That I was just thinking the other day that your mic was sounding good, so I was going to ask you if you'd jiggity jagged something in your settings or.
Oh, you know what? Actually, it probably is that I don't have. There we go. I didn't have the software
App.
up. The app up. Yeah.
Don't worry.
But
I'm
now
here to help all day long.
I appreciate it. But this is
Dude, I made the same mistake like a handful of times.
It is. I normally have it set up. Like it's usually you're up and running.
Yeah, but Call of Duty doesn't play as fast when it's all set up and running.
No, it really doesn't actually. And I don't actually play Call of Duty anymore. I have another game.
Oh yeah, what do you play? What's your thing now?
It's called Ready or Not. And yeah, it's actually pretty cool.
What is it?
It is a police SWAT simulator.
Like how simulator-ish is it? Is it realistic or?
Yeah. So you have to use proper police procedures. You got to call out. You got to tell people what to do. You can use all the DDs all the distractionary devices that you can use, all the different styles of weapons. You lose points. Oh, hey Daniel, what's up?
Hey Daniel.
You lose points.
Did you get a discount on coffee?
There's actually a coffee machine in the briefing room ahead of time that you can actually go and use and get different types of coffee and stuff.
Do you get health points for that?
No.
Just ding, ding, ding. Does it make little noises? Plus, plus, plus.
It's part of a little fun thing. But you have to use proper TTPs. You got to actually enter into rooms properly. If you just kick a door in, which you can,
right,
it makes a ton of noise, and then the bad guys come running and start shooting at you. And
I don't like that.
That kind of stuff. But if you want to go,
is it new or is it is it? Oh yeah,
just came out 5-6 months ago.
Who puts that out? Who's the publisher? Is it a big name or?
I'd have to pull up my Steam.
Did your nerdling friends put you onto it, or did you succumb to the genius of advertising? Or
actually, it was another gamer / he's a special forces, like an American special forces guy, who has been playing it. He's playing a lot of military simulation style games, and yeah, so it's fun. I used to play. Excuse me. Hey, Winterstorm. Afternoon,
buddy.
And evening wind. Oh yeah, they're nice. That talking to each other. I like it. But that's the one I've been playing recently. And again, I don't play often. It's just when I can intentionally put some time and go, you know what? I feel like working. Yeah, so it's fun, and it's extremely challenging in terms of the actual terrain that you're engaging in. So a lot of it is urban, multi houses. You're looking at.
It's not my shtick. I don't like that first person shooter. It doesn't. I don't like it. I actually don't feel good playing it. You know what I mean?
Interesting.
Like back in the day, I used to play GoldenEye with my buddy Shaun Bannis out in Ottawa, and all the time. But man, after a while, I was like, God, I just don't feel good playing it. So what I do like is it was called StarCraft, I believe.
Ooh, StarCraft's always fun.
Strategy. To me, it was more strategy. It wasn't first person. It was kind of, I don't know what.
It's called it's called an RTS, or a real-time strategy.
Right.
Yeah,
I like it. That's the kind of stuff I enjoy. And then my second would be not quite then turn-based, so more like a video chess, but more complex. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there was a great one. Yeah, Daniel put it out. Command and Conquer is really great.
Oh yeah, that was the other one I was thinking of. I love Command and Conquer.
Same here. I've been a big strategy fan for quite a long time. I like when they integrate different styles of games into each other. So when you have Ready or Not is a first-person shooter, but it really is more about the strategy of entering a building, and it's actually quite difficult to just start smashing through doors and start shooting at people, right? Because you will die very quickly. You have to bring your weapon up. You have to do quite a bit. Turn-based stuff. Oh yeah, Daniel's got Civilization. Great for turn.
I tried it. That was a Civilization with what was the follow on the dude's name who kind of
Sid Meier's.
Sid Meier's. That's it.
Yeah, those
I gave it a try. Put some time into it, and I don't know. It just didn't stick with me.
The new ones are a bit more challenging because there's less. They added more to the game, less variation to the game.
Okay.
Like you can have diplomatic victories, but rarely does that actually happen because you have to. When you like, let's say you and I were two different civilizations, and I was, hey, let's have a
discourse,
like a treaty, right? Let's send
okay,
you
right,
are allies. Excellent. And if one of us was the computer, eventually that ally will just attack you,
right.
regardless of how good.
You know, I played enough of it to understand it. Why I can't play it now is why nobody should be able to play it now is because super freaking busy.
Yeah.
And it's a grand scale game. I mean, it's so massive, and to move through it, like, if I'm going to start it, I want to finish it, and to finish it is too many man hours.
Yeah, those are called 4X games, and that's where when you get into grand strategy of the four different levels. So you have like Command and Conquer is considered a real-time strategy, but it's a 1X game, right? You mine your stuff.
Oh yeah,
you buy
enough.
stuff.
Yeah.
You attack.
Right.
Very simple. As you add different elements like diplomacy,
I follow you. Yeah.
Just culture, things like that, it starts to add different variations and levels to it. And then when you get into a 4X game like the New Civilizations or some of the other large scale ones on the grand strategy, God, their time sucks. They will just eat time.
Where did the weekend go?
Exactly. Yeah.
What did I eat? Oh, it was all in plastic bags.
It's Mountain Dew and Cheetos.
Yeah.
Yes.
Bam.
Winter Storm said, go ahead.
Sorry. No, go ahead. Didn't want to interrupt there. Go ahead. Sorry.
Okay. I was just saying, Winter Storm comment, I like figuring out mystery using eyes and ears. This is one of the first.
Wasn't that like a super visual game?
Yes.
Right. It was almost like a game changer, wasn't it?
It really was. When it first came out, it was one of those. It was a total first-person immersive game where you had to pay attention to all the little details and all the little stuff. And you might read a book 20 minutes ago inside the game that had a clue that you're now going to use. That kind of stuff. It was great. But
what I was going to say is, do you know who died yesterday?
I don't know his name, but there was the guy. He was in John Wick and The Wire.
I want to say that's right. Something like, is it Lance Reddick or something like that?
I believe.
My apologies. However, I thought he was a great actor. I watched The Wire. The Wire is one of my favorite series from back in the day. Have you seen it?
I have.
Oh, yeah. Okay, good. He's great in that. He's great in a number of other roles. Of course, John Wick. But my boys, they were bummed.
Yeah.
Because not only was he's a voice actor in Destiny 2, and there's another one that they really like, and I forget the character's name. It's Cynels or Cyrels or something like this. I forget. But hey, Keegan,
let's ask the expert.
Come here for a sec.
Yeah. Daniel says Reddick.
That's right. Yeah. What was the other game that you guys were playing that you were bummed because Lance Reddick had died? It was Destiny 2, and what was the other one?
Destiny 2 and Heaven.
Oh my goodness!
Call in the other expert.
What was it?
Horizon.
Horizon Zero Dawn. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, that's a great game.
He was a big part in that as well.
Yeah.
So bummer. And John Wick 4 is just about to come out like next week, I think, or even this upcoming week.
Yeah. It's too bad. It really is. Dude. But the one thing that we cannot escape in this life is death.
That's a cycle of life.
And this is, unfortunately, the way.
That is.
There's not much you can do about it. But, there is one thing you can do about it. And it actually goes into...
Celebrate their life?
Well, for sure.
That's what you're going to say, isn't it?
No, actually, I wasn't. But
what? That would have been the best. You would have read my mind.
Celebrating life is one thing. But what I actually wanted to talk about, and it goes into my jiu-jitsu assessment and all that stuff.
Oh, right. Okay. So we're getting to it. Good. Or not. Or whatever.
This has been a thought of mine for the last little while. that health in any real facet, if you talk about psychological health or physical health or emotional health, or any facet you want to look at, the healthier the person is, the more fluid they are in that realm. And so
in that realm and the other co-joining realms,
and then it bleeds into the other ones for sure. But the like if you are really emotionally healthy, that means you have a really high level of fluidity in your emotional state. You can manage a larger variation of emotion better. Like you can move along that area without less. So that's, I just thought that was kind of a good epiphany that I had a little while ago. So
it's great
because
I think it's fantastic.
I think this is key. Any thoughts on it right off the bat?
Well, my very first thought was, as soon as you started kind of slicing and dicing it into psychological, physiological, and emotional, I immediately created them as 3 pillars, and then I established that each pillar, if it's strong enough, will help support the other pillars, and how best to discuss that with the audience in order to encourage someone who, to your point, is a 100% emotionally solid pillar that has immense fluidity in that. They may be physiologically or physically not very fluid because they don't leave their house.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. Who knows? Or leave their bunker. Who knows? Or the cubicle, whatever the case is. So they're not that. But if emotionally they're, we'll call it resilient or anti-fragile, maybe. If they're that, they should be able to step into those realms with that 100% fluidity of emotional robustness. So do you think it's a thing where someone is completely isolated from the other 2 pillars, or we just need to talk about how to balance the ratios, or what do you think?
I think it really I think the belief in most of society is that they are separate.
Right.
And what I've been learning in the last little while, especially with this last jiu-jitsu assessment here, was that they all meld together, and you can use skill sets from each thing. And the true health or the true fluidity in life is to be able to move between those areas and utilize the ratios. And like, oh, well, I'm really physically healthy. That's great. And it will help you emotionally. But if you don't spend any time or adjust the ratios on your health fluidity in order to engage emotional fluidity, then you're going to be one of those gym bros that it has nothing else except for the gym. If that makes sense.
That's right. Yeah. And so the interesting philosophical question to you is, do you believe that, let's call them 3 pillars, and now we're balancing pillars. Or more correctly, what we're trying to figure out is how to, the roof that's resting on all 3 pillars, how they can best do their job to support the other 2 pillars, or properly share the load amongst all 3. Do you feel that it's a person has to be 100% in everything in order to be a just hang a second.
Sorry,
I know. Quick on the draw there. Do you think someone has to be 100% in each one of them to be a total human being, as per the philosophy of Taoism or whatever? Or do you think if you get all 3 of them balanced at 54%, each one is at 54%, you're a total human being, as per kind of that philosophical approach?
I like the concept of the total human being, and I don't think 100% is attainable in anything.
I don't know.
And that's what I believe, is that
like
it doesn't matter how physically capable you are.
But you establish, so that's why I ask you that very pointed question, because you stated, and I know you're being generalistic and casual about it, someone with 100% physicality is a gym bro. So maybe it is achievable.
Maybe. That's a good point. But so let me rephrase then.
Well, I'm not asking you to. I'm just
There's clarification is required. It's all good. It's good to have the clarification, and I was being general, and I think that
Okay.
something like this does require some plate spinning, to say the least. You have to be able to kind of think of it in a 3-dimensional object. And you know what it actually kind of reminds me of is 3D chess from Star Trek.
Yeah, for sure.
And it really is, instead of just looking at life as those, mind, body, and soul. Daniel actually put it in here, which is quite nice. Those 3 pillars, is that they are not only supporting the roof, but they're supporting each other.
For sure.
And so if you were to pour yourself into emotional or physical or psychological health, the extremes of those, when you use all of that, you're taking energy from another area and putting it into one.
I don't know.
I believe you are.
Okay.
Yeah. And the reason I believe you are is because there is a finite amount of energy within your own body. Right? Like you can only use 24 hours in a day. You can only, there's going to be a point where you become so physically exhausted that you can't lift yourself, let alone weight.
So how do you propose to become a total human being? And let me add, by the way, that yesterday, if you saw the drone footage that I put up, it was from our backyard. I launched out of the backyard, flew directly into the back forest behind us. Great height, turned around, faced the mountains behind us, and chances are you probably didn't see it. Otherwise, you would have listened to the music that was associated with that drone footage yesterday evening, which was by Alan Watts. And the piece that I chose from Alan Watts was his discussion about how people, I don't know, some people overly focus on something but don't see the background. So I tried to time the quote as the drone turned towards the mountains in the background at the long distance. I think some people will focus on little parts of the town that you can see. Oh, there's a church. Oh, there's a store. But the magnificence is behind. And so as Alan Watts discusses that, which you'll have to go listen to,
I will.
It's precisely about what we're talking about right now.
Excellent. Well, let's all go listen to Shaun's.
No. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying it. Yeah. This just lines up with what I put out yesterday evening. Yeah.
Poignant for sure. To your question, I think that the way in which someone becomes a total human being is the ability to access and shift those energies on the fly. And so instead of being
as needed.
Yeah. So like you can pour into your body and then in that moment, and then pull away from it, and then pour into your emotional self, and then pull away from it and pour into, and whatever needs to be balanced, you can then again be fluid in your motion. And so that's what I've been playing with. That's where the fluidity came into, is that when we were talking about the river and the ocean and the waves and all these things, was that it still requires a lot of not so much radical acceptance, but you have to be involved with the water.
You have to be at ease in your surrounding.
Exactly. Yeah. In order to see it, just to see it. And then carry on from there. We got a couple comments here before we get into the whole jiu-jitsu thing, but I just want to go over them because
we're not even going to get to jiu-jitsu because I got a question for you.
Okay.
It's going to crack your peanut.
I like it.
So so do I. It's fun. And so let's pretend for a moment that you want to get better at being more fluid, increasing your fluidity in each area, all 3 areas. How do you do that?
The way I've been doing it is I seek out rigidity. I try and find where I am rigid, where I am.
So you're looking, you're addressing the lowest performer.
Yes. Yeah. Where in my life, where if I'm emotionally unstable, like if I've been losing my temper a lot, I need to work on that. And then
okay, check. So what you're doing is you're talking about shifting your focus or your attention or energy towards the lowest performer on whichever of the 3 pillars.
As a start.
Okay.
And then
Okay.
As I get better at it, as I have been getting better over it, now I see it more as the how do I use pieces from one into the other.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's more of I think and I can build upon itself and go, oh well, this applies to this also, and this applies to this also. And then my next stage, and this is where I think I'm going in my jiu-jitsu, is being able to take those pieces and figure out how they fit in areas that I don't know yet.
Okay, we're not at jiu-jitsu yet.
Yeah, we're not yet, but even in the health fluidity spectrum, when you're looking at those three pillars in the mind, body, and soul, I can now say, hey, this particular tool that I've used to manage my my temper, I can apply that to my physical health, but I don't know how to do that yet. So then I start trying to fit that piece. How do I use this here? And that's what I've been working on the last little bit.
Understood. So to recap, it would be you're now exploring this fluidity based on the three pillars, and you're identifying the weakest piece within each pillar, and you're fixing it, for lack of a better term.
Yeah.
Okay. So how about this? What's your best pillar?
I'd have to say right now it is
now that you've got that in mind.
Okay.
And I don't need to know what it is.
Okay.
Now that you have that in mind, do you think that you could use that more effectively to reinforce the other two? Rather than focusing on the lowest common denominator on a single pillar, could you take your strong pillar and manipulate the other two, knowing that you're coming from a strength or position of strength? And so the reason I say this is you can kind of crush the other two with a winning mindset rather than go to the losing mindset and try to figure out how to pull in something from somewhere else that may be helpful. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
It's just a mind flip.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense too, because it is I'm not fixing something.
Right.
I'm just making adjustments.
Right.
As they're needed.
And you're making adjustments from a strength.
Yeah.
Now you're strong. Now you're feeling pretty good about yourself. Now it's kind of a win.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like kind of like you've taken the high ground. You've got Overwatch position.
I was just talking to Rob, my training partner, on the way back here. We were talking about taking the high ground and the fact that why wouldn't you take the high ground?
Combat base.
Like it's right there. Why not? Why wouldn't you just take it?
Thank you.
Right? Yeah, but it's a great point. I think I'm going to adjust. I'm going to be fluid in this moment. I'm going to adjust my concept of
and it gets more complex than that because now you can run them against each other. Once you're used to one lever, and then another lever, then you'll get used to flipping two levers at the same time. And so you can run a counter program against the two of them from a position of strength, from a position, we'll call it weakness for lack of a better term, and get those two to clash and see what comes of it. And then in the friction, you can manipulate it based on blah, 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 to the next level, blah, blah, to the next level. So the more you play with it, the more levers you have, the more you can pull. Then you're like, it's like the train, man. You're the conductor pulling all the right levers. I'm just saying.
So there's a puzzle. And it's a pretty, I think pretty much everybody has done it throughout their life. But basically, you have like 9 cards on the table, and one is flipped over. And when you flip one over, any adjacent cards flip over. And so you're trying to get it so that it's all one color.
Oh, yes, I see. Yeah.
But every time you flip one, the adjacent ones flip back and forth. And so the puzzle is to figure out what combination of things you have to hit. And so that's what I was thinking of while you were describing that, is that at first you're just flipping a card and going, oh, well, what happens?
Right.
I'm like, oh, but later on in time, you're like, I need to flip this, then this, then this, then this, in order to get this, and this, which then I have to, and you can start building upon the fact that you are used to the system of flipping.
That's right. Well, you know what you got to do? You've got to see the pattern.
Yeah.
I mean, once you see the pattern, you don't even have to flip anything. It just happens. It's just like your autonomous program just runs against the pattern that you're very familiar with. It's like no biggie.
Yeah.
But again, to your point, you got to start with one card.
Yeah.
Well, you've got to start with a thing, whatever that thing is, for the first time, and consider it as like, I don't even know how this magic works because I ain't a magician yet. But you look at it and you understand that others can do it. There's other magicians out there.
Yeah.
And so it's not like they're any different. They just apply discipline and focus over a timeline and eventually got to where they wanted to get to, or at least further ahead than you are. So it's just time, but it's got to be intentional, you know?
Yeah, I was just thinking that the key to that is that you have to not only be willing to flip the card, because that's the first part, right? And you got to, oh, what does this do? But then you have to be able to observe the result.
Yeah, I mean, you've got to be present to understand that what you are not doing is flipping a card. What you are doing is creating a trend.
Yes.
That's it.
Yeah. And then once you understand the pattern, then you can start playing the game. And once you understand the game, or once you start playing the game, then you better understand the rules, and then you can start manipulating the game.
That's right. And then you offload it.
Yep. And just be like, good to go.
Well, it just happens. It just happens. Yeah. That's it.
So I'm going to run through some of these comments here, and then we'll talk about my assessment, because we still got some time here.
Lots of time, yeah.
Okay, so Winterstorm says, health is the currency you use to buy life. Everybody wants to be wealthy, but doesn't put in the work.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking sometimes in my live chats, well, not live chats, sorry, some of the recorded rides that I do out on our single track, like as recently as over the last week or so, I've probably said, "What? That was a great training ride." I'm not training to race anyone right now, but I've been training all my life. I just think of myself as an athlete. I train no matter what. I don't even have anything to face, but I'm still facing whatever it is that'll come across the horizon tomorrow. I'm always training.
Yeah, that's great. Great way to look at it too, because then you're consistent in your training.
Yeah, I can't even imagine not. I mean, that's weird. You're all a bunch of weirdos if you ain't training.
I love that. Daniel then continues, perfection is a false pretext. Achievement of an equilibrium within all pillars, mind, body, and soul for that person. Ooh, I like that.
Right. So I did want to, before we jumped into these comments, I was thinking of trying to get this point rolling, and I bailed on it. But now that Daniel's brought it up, I'm like, ooh, juicy. I can't let it go. So I had kind of asked you a bit of a pointed question, and you took the conversation in a touch of a different direction. And I didn't want to bring it back. But where I was going with it is, so you don't think that you can achieve 100%? And I don't know if you can or not. In physicality, as an example. Maybe there are 100%ers out there. They're mega gym bros. I don't know. But I think this is super important. Whether it's achievable or not, you've got to believe that that's the outcome you're looking for. Maximum effort.
Yeah.
I'm going to get all the way down the rabbit hole. I'm going to be 100% in that pillar. Not because I want to beat everyone else. Not because I want to be 100%. I want the outcome. Maximum outcome. I don't even know what it looks like yet, but I'm going to pursue it. And so I'll pursue. And as I'm pursuing, it'll drag the other pillars up. And whether I'm at 54% as a balanced objective or I'm 73%, I don't know. It doesn't matter to me. I'm still pursuing. Yeah. Who knows? It actually doesn't matter to me because, I'll always be chasing it.
I think at least let me ask you this question, is that, do you think that there is, at least, so in my view, I don't see anything being able to be perfect. Right? Nothing is going to be 100% perfect. Everything's going to work out. I disagree.
Because Nadia Comaneci got a 10 out of 10 at the Olympics in gymnastics. It was the first 10 out of 10 in the Olympics. And then what do? Give 10.25 out of 10. So perfection has been achieved, apparently, within the Olympics already quite some time ago. So what is perfection?
You could say that level of perfection is still subjective, right? Because
so what is it?
Right? Sure, she made mistakes. Well, this is where I was going to go with it. Was the fact that if someone puts 100% into any one pillar, I think I at least believe that you have to take it from some other pillars. Now you can give 100% effort to build the pillar, but if you were to put all of your energy into one pillar, you'd have to take it from the other two.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. To me, it's just a pursuit, not of perfection, but of outcome. And if that pursuit of outcome, whatever that is, leads to perfection, which is probably impossible because it's a weird word.
Yeah.
And so if the pursuit of my maximum outcome looks like an 8.4 out of 10 on the perfection scale, whatever that means, I'll take it, man. Because it's not like I was slacking. You know, I was kind of getting after it. I was trying to see what the best outcome could be on this little journey.
This is the this is the journey, is trying to figure out and understand not only how, but why, and
right,
and when, and where.
Or more correctly, you know, you can take all of those things, hit them with the dry eraser, and just replace it with this. Why not?
That's a really good one too. That's a great question to ask yourself on a regular basis. Why not?
Why not? Right? Why not?
Yeah, why not?
Well,
It's
you tell
simple.
me. Why not?
I don't know.
Give me a good reason.
I don't have one. I'm in the.
Neither do I.
I'm in the boat
but
of
mentally. No one says that often enough. Why not?
I heard a really great line at one point in time where they were discussing, you know, why would you do this or why would you do that, or, you know, reasons for that and reasons for this. And somebody said, what if it came out way better than you could ever imagine? Which is a possibility, right? If you put a lot of effort into something, you really want to be a superstar, gymnast, macrame, whatever it is, you want to be a superstar. What if you friggin' rocked it? Not just like, I did pretty well, I gave my full effort, and I did okay. What if you put in your full effort and you became a friggin' superstar?
Yeah, but the best part is, like, I never think really like that. I don't want to be a superstar, but what I do want to do is pursue best outcome. I want to explore the engine that I'm revving right now, and so, I mean, that's how I ended up being a world champion in 24-hour solo mountain bike racing. It's not because I wanted to be a superstar; it's because I wanted to see if I could do it. I wanted to see if I had the juice. And that's kind of same with podcasting. Dude, we might lose subscribers, but it won't be for lack of putting the freaking pedal to the floor and hoping we don't run out of gas, because I'm just going to pursue the outcome, whatever it is.
Yeah. And I do want to clarify that when I say superstar, I don't mean like to be famous. I mean, like,
okay.
What if you just rocked it?
Dude,
like, I rocked it.
I have.
Awesome.
Yeah. I have.
That's awesome.
And a boatload of my friends have. And why wouldn't you? Why not?
Why not? Why not? Well, why not
but
carry
I
on
prefer
with
to call it superstar, like the old school SNL skits, you know what I mean?
Yeah. You gotta want to be a superstar, and then you gotta like.
That's right.
Yeah, I've been there. So Winterstorm's got a great point here. He says, "Health buys life. Life buys experience. Experience buys wisdom. Wisdom buys peace, and peace buys happiness."
Dude, I green lit that about halfway through the sentence, and then gold starred it right at the end.
Ooh, look at that, Winterstorm! You got a gold star from
so
Shaun.
Legit. But that there's those logic leaps. That is I think a pretty crafty timeline that's put together there. I believe they call that pearls of wisdom or some such nonsense, all strung together.
Does kind of sound like the Jedi Code, though.
It does, doesn't it?
Just saying, maybe he took a piece off that one.
I'm okay with plagiarism if it's legit.
If it's legit, sure. Daniel retorts, "Someone recently stated, if you break your day into 4 quarters of 6 hours and look into touching multiple pillars multiple times within the day, aids in developing an equilibrium that may be worked in the longer run to be calibrated on the daily for that one person."
Dude, listen, here's what I love about that. Who cares if it works or not? It's a plan. It's a program. It's a scheme. It's a strategy. It's a theme. It's a path forward that you can figure out whether it works for you the best way or not. The best part is you've got to pay attention to it because now it's intentional. Now you're trying to figure
Mhm.
if it even works. And,
Yeah.
and it could be the best path for 94% of the population, but the rest of them will have to do it a different way. But who cares which way? It's everyone's job to figure out their way.
Their
And
way.
by intentionally planning to plan, well, now you're in the game. So I dig it.
Yeah, I like it a lot. Daniel then again hits in to respond to Sean's understanding understanding the what, how, and why.
Yeah, for sure.
And then we got doing objective introspection in real time and figuring the adjustment to proceed. Solid.
And not only solid, freaking fun. If you gamify it.
If you gamify
it doesn't have to be homework.
No.
You can actually win at this stuff.
Yeah, you can do lots of cool, crazy things, and then look at that.
Well, you can.
Yeah.
What's up, buddy? Well, you can. You just turn it into like this is good fun, rather than this is drudgery homework. You know, that's how you spin it.
It's amazing how quickly your mindset can change. Not just the mindset, but how you actually work, physically work on stuff. How that changes just on the mindset going, ooh, this is fun. Or
and the terrible part is that nothing's entrenched. It's not like you can't flip a different switch in about a millisecond, like right now, bam. And that's it. I mean, no one's trapped in a trough.
I mean, people feel trapped in a trough, but they're not.
That's because they haven't flipped that switch in about a millisecond to realize that it ain't a trough. It's standing in front of a microphone.
Yeah, 100%. Daniel, I see your comment here. I'm not going to put it up on the screen because it has bad words in it. No, it doesn't have bad words in it. It has vulgarity. So I'm going to just state it.
Check.
And he says, never late in the game to finally figure this stuff out at 37.
Yeah.
100%.
Dude, that's earlier than I did. Shit up the fireworks, bro. Run out to the beach and start a bonfire. Yeah, buddy. Congratulations to you for reals.
Absolutely. One of the benefits of doing all this stuff and talking about these things and all of the little pieces of wisdom that I picked up from not only you, but from all the people that I've talked to and all the people that I've surrounded myself with, is I get to pass that on to my kids. And then they get the leg up like early.
Yeah, and I mean that's what I've been trying to do from the get-go, right? I mean, shouldn't we all be trying to do that? I think.
You would think.
But you know, it's but I guess to keep it real, maybe everyone's thinking that, but again, not everyone understands that there's a thing called the game and patterns and blah blah blah. Do your best, etc. Coffee mug. Where's my coffee mug, Chance Burrows?
It's coming.
That says do your best.
It's coming.
So like if all of these general themes are, these aren't reinforced day after day after day through whatever messaging, if you don't know it, you don't do it.
Yep. The unconscious incompetence, you don't know what you don't know. And until you know that you don't know, you won't know.
Yeah. And it's definitely, I mean, there's obviously we're in a great age right now where information's being passed back and forth. These kind of communications are happening. And, if someone tunes into this for just 2 minutes and hears 3 sentences that make sense to them, bam, recalibrated. They're on a new trajectory now. They're actually thinking that they can get out of the trough. So it's, I mean, these are good times to some degree, I think.
There's also something that clicked in my head on the way down to the assessment was the fact that I find it fascinating to hear people's stories, to listen to other people and look at my own story and really find the point where things changed, right? The decision where you're like, I'm going to do this. And you can't really see it without hindsight, right? In those moments, you're like, oh, I'm going to work on this. And you're going to put some effort into it, like starting a podcast. At the time, I didn't really think anywhere it was going to go anywhere. I was just like, I think I should talk to people and put it on the internet and hopefully people will listen. And that has led us here to the point that I had, like, the people that are in my phone, I would never have expected to have in my phone 5 years ago. To the conversations that I've had with people, I never would have thought I would have had. And it came all the way back to one decision of me going, I should do a podcast. A podcast sounds like a good idea. And then acting on it. And I find it fascinating when I, listen to other people and I hear these stories, and there are these little points in people's lives that seem innocuous, but they lead down this trail, and you're like, uphill, awesomeness. It's really, I find it quite fascinating to find those points in people's lives and go, cool. That's just cool. And I really enjoy it.
It is, but that everyone can get to those points, like not on the daily, but on the monthly, I'll say.
Oh yeah.
At a minimum. And the difference is action, as you stated, because branching points are in front of our nose, like on the regular.
Mm-hmm.
But no matter which decision you make, none of it unfolds unless you apply resources against it.
Yeah.
Effort, time, money, effort, hard work, focus,
that's the
discipline,
big one,
etc.
Oh man,
yesterday. Sorry, was it yesterday? This morning. Anyway, Seb just put up a. Did you see the photo that he put up? He put up some fantastic verbiage with the photo.
I think so. I'm pretty sure I shared it and was like, "Read this."
Oh yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Well, that's the photo that he and I were kind of first getting to know each other when he came out to Roslyn for a week to sit down and have
no, I haven't
do all
seen
of those
one.
audio recordings. Okay,
I haven't seen that.
That's what the photo's from.
Sweet.
So like that was a critical branching point for me. I'd have made my mind up that there's just no freaking way I'm going to be doing any podcasting. But then after Seb and I record those 25 hours throughout that week, when he bounced, he was all up in my grill about, you got to do this, dude. And so if not for that, then I wouldn't be here. So, if I hadn't have talked to you, if I hadn't have talked to that guy, if that dude hadn't pushed me and poked me in the chest and pushed me in the shoulder, and this guy and that guy and that girl and her and him and it and they, all of it gets you to here, but only through good decisions and work, freaking work.
It's I think it's just fantastic. Daniel says, "Oh, is this AM?" So yeah, when he put it out was this morning.
Oh, yes, it was this morning.
So I didn't see it. I was on the road. He said, "Can we call it the awakening of self?"
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool.
That's a great way to put it, but
maybe not your full self, but certainly the phase of your life that is the self that you are now. So I guess I'm comparing that against, we'll loosely call it the Alan Watts totality of human kindness.
Yeah.
It's a phase of awakening, of a phase of who you are, and then 10 years later, you've got the hindsight and wisdom to look back and think, yeah, that was a pretty important moment. But now I'm in a moment where ... And so it never ends, I think.
I totally agree. It is one of
more awareness.
It's one
awareness
of those
on top of awareness, inception awareness.
This is once you realize how much you don't know, then you go, oh, well, man, I need to start looking into this. I need to start researching this. I need to start going down this pathway because it looks awesome.
Right.
And I have this, I mean, you've walked around in the foothills of Alberta, right? Like it.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
If you look west at the mountains and you're like, oh, wow, that's really lovely. And it looks quite flat and nice, like easy slope.
How quaint,
right? And then you start walking and you go down your first coulee and you're like, whoa, where am I? Where am I? And,
that's right.
But I think that's part of the path. That's part of the work, is that, you're looking at those mountains going, man, I really want to be there. Well, you got to get across the river and under the tree and down the coulee.
And I think we kind of talked about like the bulk of the work is just to get to the base of the mountain. The rest of it is kind of like the cherry,
Exactly.
Maybe a peak, maybe you don't, maybe you get the perfect outcome, whatever. What even is the outcome? What you're mostly trying to do is get to the mountain.
Yeah.
And if you get to the top, then bonus. But all that work to the base, I mean, that's the non-sexy stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. And I have, I've walked through my share of deep coulees and smashed my ankles on gopher holes and smacked my head off of trees as I was going through stuff. And like,
you're still picking thorns out of your hat.
Oh yeah. And I've met a couple of porcupines along the way and some pumas.
I've never had porcupine quills in me. Have you?
I've never had them in me. My dog.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. But I've never had any in me.
No, never in me. I just saw them. I've had a couple like shoot at me, but just kind of like swing their tails at me, but nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing connected. We do have a couple more comments, and then I will get into the jujitsu.
We got to do the jujitsu. But okay, this is all your fault. You're the one. Totally hey, if we don't get to jujitsu, it's on you. and you know what's happening right now? I'm already amusing myself with a subroutine to try to drag this out so that we don't actually get to jujitsu.
So I think we might be planning the same thing
minutes ago.
We might be doing the same thing. Let's see here. Winterstorm says it's where you stop worrying about what could happen and focus on wondering what will happen. It may be hard for you, but not a hard thing. Get out of your own way. Oh, that's a great point.
Yeah, it's great advice. Actually, that's what Seb kind of gave me, a little bit of advice like that, to be honest, to do this stupid podcasting thing.
And this is why we love it, because it makes you uncomfortable.
Actually, I called him a jerk in my live IG chat. He was in when he came in, and I was chatting about, yeah, that was great what you said there, buddy, but you're a jerk because now I'm in front of this, you jerk.
There's a piece to that in life where people are going to push you into places that you're uncomfortable.
Dude,
right? You said it yesterday.
I was uncomfortable,
that's
man.
what a coach does.
That's right.
Pushes you in a place that you're uncomfortable.
He freaking Jedi mind tricked me is what I've claimed in the past. He's a freaking jerk.
I think you may have Jedi mind tricked yourself.
I was a willing participant, no doubt. Once I saw what's up, I was. And I tease, of course, but I'm so glad to be here right now. I mean, this conversation is fun for me now. I'm having fun. Are we learning anything, Chance Burrows? Yeah. I'm learning things from you.
I'm learning.
Bam, here we go. Yay, Oz.
Stuff. Exactly. We all win. Daniel then says, breaking the shadow of the past, holding you back and striving forward with a new lightness of the daily pursuit.
Yeah, why not?
Yeah, why not?
Dude, it's
why
all
not?
in the rearview mirror.
Why not?
It's the waves that passed us by.
The waves. I was talking about that on the ride down here too. There was so much stuff. Yeah, it was quite an eventful little thing.
You know what's happening? Little bit of seed planting, and now you're out there planting seeds. And even if the podcast don't plant seeds, dude, you're now an active farmer. I like it.
Good. This is why I have a saddle in the background.
Yeah, without your guitar, by the way.
Now how you gonna? Guitar's right there.
Oh, so it is. So you can still segue to music.
I can totally segue to music.
No by the way, I don't know if anyone, before I hopped in, Chance Burrows was serenading me.
I was.
What was that piece, by the way?
Nothing. I was just playing.
What?
Yeah, I was just playing.
Were you making things up?
Yeah.
Were you getting your jazz hands going?
Maybe.
How long could you do that nonstop? Free flow. Without probably falling back on something that you know from memory?
I think, I did yesterday. Actually, I was playing and my boys were doing homework, and I just picked up my guitar and started playing. And I think I went 45 minutes before they asked for help, and I just stopped.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Did you know that you were were you trying to learn things in it, or were you just flowing? Did you disappear?
I just flowed into it. I was listening to the music, and I was just kind of rocking and oh, it sounds pretty good.
So
and
there was background music?
No. The music that I was playing,
I
was just, I was in this loop cycle of this sounds good. And then I'd try a particular chord and be yeah, that didn't sound good. I go back to the other one. And then
so you were iterating.
And I was practicing.
So you weren't really flowing. You were iterating more so.
I think I was doing both. So there would be, I would experiment with a particular chord within the flow. I would feel it and be this is awesome. This sounds really good. And I would kind of carry it on. And then I'd be I wonder if I did this on a 3 count versus a 4 count.
Oh, I didn't know you were actually that good on guitar.
I'm not.
Okay.
But at least I don't
even going on. Did you take a genius pill or something, or?
I bought into my own ability.
Oh, okay.
It took me a while.
So you're kind of believing in yourself to some degree. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So the whole music thing, and I know you're just killing time because we only got 10 minutes left, but
it's guaranteed. It's so transparent, but that's actually a layer within the layer. It's amusing me how transparent I'm being about it and still achieving the outcome.
Achieving. Well, the fact is you're bringing up good points that need to be talked about. And I think
I believe so. That's why I'm trying to make them relevant.
So I grew up, my dad's a musician. He's been a musician his whole life. He can play anything with strings. Yeah. I mean, you talk bass, guitars, mandolins.
I don't remember you ever saying that, but I do remember you saying, was it your uncle or your grandpa? Who was it? was playing guitar out there looking at the mountains off in the distance, or no?
Oh, that was my uncle.
Yeah, it was your uncle. That's right.
Yeah, he's still down on the ranch doing that stuff, and
right,
just learning how to play, and not really learn how to play, but like just playing.
Right.
But my dad, like, he's touring around the U.S. and he's still playing.
Still?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, he's in the 70s.
He's good.
Yeah, he's also a cowboy poet and a few other things. He'll actually be up in Edmonton in a couple of months, so I'm probably gonna see him
That's
again.
cool. Have you listened to him like live or anything? Or?
Oh yeah. Yeah, he's got a CD out too. And
oh yeah,
I was listening to a CD, and he's good. He's I don't know. I didn't really grow up listening to it, but I kind of grew up listening to it. So when I was young, my mom and him got divorced, and I didn't really see him through most of my life. But I remember his music being in the house all the time, and that was where like.
So now, when you listen to the CD as an example, how does it feel to you?
There was some resentment a while ago. Not anymore.
Probably, yeah.
Now it's just like, well, it's good music.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
A little bit of emotional detachment to some degree.
Yeah, it took me a while to get there.
Right.
But it is it allowed me to process through it eventually, because there was a lot of
tough one though.
Yeah.
Hey?
It was very hard. Well, I mean, there was a point that I didn't see him for 7 years.
Right.
And even then it was like I'd get a birthday card after 7 years.
Right.
Out of nowhere. And you're like,
right.
Cool, man.
Right.
Great. And so there was a lot of resentment early on, and then over the last 5-6 years since I became a dad, I think, really, so maybe 9 years, where I was like, okay. And then there was also a point in my life where I was like, he probably just did it. He was doing his best with the tools he had.
Doing his best, yeah.
And unfortunately, when you also look at his background, like my grandmother was a schizophrenic that was undiagnosed for many years.
Right.
So he and him being the oldest on a ranch in the middle of nowhere.
Oh yeah.
That's gonna
no bueno. Yeah. Challenging.
So, I get it at the same time, but I also know that those were the choices he made.
It's true.
And that's
lots of branching points in front of that moment.
Absolutely. Yep.
Yeah. Maybe not doing his best.
Right. Maybe doing what he thought was his best at the time.
Right. Maybe comfortably
doing his best.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who knows?
But yeah, that's beside the point. The whole thing was, though, growing up, like, my whole family's musical. So on that side of the family, my aunts and my uncles, they all play music. Everyone's played music for many years. Being on the ranch, everyone played music. And I had guitars for many years that I never actually learned to play up until just a little while ago.
All right.
And so just recently I started playing Let It Be for the Beatles. And it's a pretty simple song. It's a 4-chord song. You can just bounce around.
Unless you're singing along.
And I've been singing with it too.
Oh, you got a voice, do you?
No.
Okay.
I'm not good at it.
About to get my speed dial on America's Got Talent.
Okay,
all right.
No, I do not have a good voice for it. But that's something I'm working on too. Okay. That's another aspect that I recognize that I don't have a great singing voice. Let's dive into it.
Sure.
But just yesterday, I started playing with it initially, just kind of going through the chords, and then I started playing something else, and I was like, "Oh, this sounds pretty good." And then I started bobbing my head and started playing on top of my foot, and I was like, "Yeah, that sounds pretty good." And then
I think I should record a CD.
Not quite that bad, but that was that's where I just was like 45 minutes, just kind of disappeared into the guitar.
Nice, man.
And it was
nice. No downside to that.
No. Yeah. Other than my fingers hurt, but
right. Yeah, of course.
That's the only real issue with it.
Yeah.
But
and how dehydrated you got from all the crying because of your tender fingers.
There was a lot of crying.
Oh boy.
We do have. Ooh, there you go. Daniel Bond said an episode called "Why Not." Riding the ocean waves of life while passing the BJJ text and going, for another day.
That's right. Yep. Yeah, agreed.
And then 2 questions and a sub questioning Shaun's figures another way to kill 5 more minutes of essential talk other than BJJ.
That's right, buddy.
Yeah. Okay, so 5 minutes left. We're going to talk about...
because allow me to retort.
Yep, by all means.
I was keeping this in my hip pocket just in case. Already pre-planned. The moment one of the reasons that I brought up your uncle is so that I could maybe have to fall back on this just in case you try to like deal with the whole BJJ thing. You know what I'm saying?
Games within games. I like it.
Dude, I'm playing Inception over here. So
love it.
So to your point, on my mom's side, they're all very musical. They all sing or they all play instruments. In fact, my uncle Shay Hutchinson, is really, well, he passed away not too long ago, but was really, really famous over in Ireland. People from all over had come to listen to Shay. Shay Hutchinson and the Melody Aces. Ooh. And what they did was Shay kind of had he had the big chops on. He had a little bit of Elvis-y kind of movement going on, which was wild in rural Ireland at the time. And so they kind of became a big deal, started touring over in the UK, and then they went big. They went over to America. Ooh. And they got on the bus and the tour bus moving across. And anyway, it was a big deal because when they came back to Oma, they were kind of superstars.
They were a big deal. Yep.
They were a big deal. But, in the grand scheme of things, they weren't. So to your point on superstars or what's your state of perfection or whatever the case is. I mean, you could kind of look at a situation like that where they came back as quote unquote superstars. And what they did, their generation influenced an entire younger generation that looked up to Shay Hutchinson and followed in those footsteps or were through his adventures were encouraged to go over to America. Like I got cousins who, obviously connected to Shay and they bounced over to America because of Shay's adventures, right? Yeah. So, I mean, have I inceptioned it enough at this point?
Maybe. I think we're back at the very beginning of what we were talking about, that, fluidity in generational fluidity.
Intergenerational fluidity. And the only way that you can do that is if you talk about it.
Yeah. Actually discuss it and carry on. Winterstorm puts out this, the new collective t-shirt. No. Allow me to retort. A bestseller right there. Absolutely. And then Dennis, watch it end with, by the way, how was your BJJ session?
Shoot, you stole it. That's what I was going to do.
Well, let me
maybe I was a little too transparent.
Just to give you guys a little bit. Cole's notes, it went really well.
But okay, good. Okay.
Went really well. I feel very a lot more confident in my own jiu-jitsu. Nice. And my instructor as well. We came in there well versed in what they wanted to see. Yeah. Okay. And
so they felt that you showed up prepared and you felt you showed up prepared.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, check. All right.
Yeah. And but it was really good. Got some good rolling in and
critical feedback
on it from what everyone said to me was like, you're doing really well. Carry on.
Sure. But no, like, all right, this is what you got to blah, blah, blah. And I need this and blah, and etc. Onto that.
Nothing. No, very minor stuff of like, okay, well, when you do this, do X.
Now it's your responsibility. What's the thing that you need to work on?
Right now, what I came out of that assessment with was that I need to work on not allowing things to happen.
Okay.
And I say that in terms of I need to flow more. And that I need to practice flowing more, because I do it here and there, but I need to really work it and really play the game.
Yeah, you do. You know why? Because it's not freaking homework. It's the freaking awesome.
Yeah.
It's like the moment that you realize that, oh, I get to do flow. Yay, me.
And that's what it was.
Yeah.
I rolled with one of our a black belt who just got his black belt, but he was at our club and then moved down to Calgary. And anyway,
okay.
We rolled together and we just worked. It was just flow. It was not like I wasn't pushing.
Did you feel his flow, or did you feel? Yeah,
I felt his flow. He felt my flow.
Okay,
it was very
nice.
It wasn't a lot of effort.
It was synchronous to some degree.
Yeah, exactly. And then I moved on to, but again, I know him. So I was like, well, he knows how I roll and I know how he rolls. But it was very synchronous.
Mark.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
And then I moved on to a purple belt who was going for his brown belt. So he's got the full stack. And then we did the same thing. Felt the same way. Nice. And I was like, I need to do this more. Like I really love the feeling of this, and I just need to get into this rather than forcing something or trying to counter something else.
Right.
And so it just, man, get into it, let it happen, see what happens.
Let it flow. That's what I do with Evan all the time. We never know what we're doing. We never have a plan. We don't even know sometimes what we just did. We just flow all the time. It's finding the right partner.
Yes.
The right partner can make it freaking magic. And I raised him to be the right partner. So it's like Harry Potter moments every moment out there, you know?
Yeah. Quick question here from Daniel. Was it for future belt testing? Yeah, the assessment I did today was for my purple belt. So we have a symposium in April that we all come. Master Bearing comes up. He's an 8th degree coral belt, and he comes up and does a symposium for belt progressions every 6 months.
And everyone runs outside. And...
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, 100%. We all walk around like, yes. But you know what, man? The amount of stuff I have learned from Master Bearing.
Right.
It was all high level stuff, where I would get the move that he was trying to get at, but just over the last couple symposiums, now I'm starting to see like the why behind the moves and the smaller point, the trickier things to find within those moves. It's not just the move. There's all the reasoning behind it and what pressure is coming in and where the hip is here and like all the technical stuff.
You know what happens? You discover that and it disappears because there's another thing in front of it that you don't understand, that eventually you'll understand and that'll disappear. And it'll be immediately replaced by the thing you don't understand. It's always non-understanding. It's never understanding. That stuff just fades into the autonomous program.
That's why I prefaced it with, I think that I've been understanding this.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then this is a great line, and I think I might turn this into a t-shirt there, Winterstorm. Don't let life happen to you. Flow with it to direct it.
Hell yeah, of course.
Dang, right. I love that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we're just over an hour now. I was able to manage to get my.
You did? You scooched it in only because I allowed it, Chance Burrows. I allowed.
Really?
I could still be dragging that out right now. Don't you even worry.
I'm sure you could, but
I would have.
We're not going to let it happen because we're
right.
already 2 minutes over.
Too late.
You don't want to. And you know what? The one thing I did forget to do is mention that everybody should.
Oh, bro!
Like and subscribe.
That was my last poke.
But hey, I snuck it in there right at the end.
You did.
I remembered. Huzzah! Right at the very end in the last moment. Ooh, there we go. New collector t-shirt. The why behind the moves. Ooh.
We have so many t-shirts. It's redonk.
Yeah. Well, you know what we should do is find somebody that, I don't know, makes t-shirts and
Not
perhaps
me.
would love to, I don't know.
I don't have to do anything. You have to do everything.
This is the way. Right there.
This is the way.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. Well, then appreciate everybody shifting the timing for me. That was the big one I want to thank everybody for, because it is a big shift in timing. I do appreciate everyone making the time to allow me to go for my assessment.
Yeah, especially the East Coasters, buddy.
Yeah, it is fantastic.
Daniel through the ringer.
Late night for Daniel over there. But there you go. Great chat. I appreciate it.
All right.
We'll let everybody.
We'll let it slide, Burls.
This time. I'm going to be doing these every year now, which is interesting. So the assessments only happen in
every April
at the belt level. So when you go from purple to brown or brown to black, and at the 2-bar to 3-bar level, and we have to go in front of the council of black belts. And then, we got all kinds of things. Sean's still waiting for his handless mug that says, "What about the assessment?"
That's right, man. I'm waiting for a lot of things, and I'm always assessing. See my eyebrow?
Assessing right now. We can get into this all day long. Anyway, we'll make sure everybody gets a great chat in tomorrow as well. Seb's going to be joining us.
This was a great chat.
It was a great chat. I'm not saying it's not.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Seb's joining us. All right. It's going to be a way better chat. You didn't bring enough heat, Burls.
I should have brought more heat. Bring more heat. Make an assessment. Make an assessment. Thanks, guys. Appreciate
Right.
you hanging out and chatting with us. This has been awesome. We definitely, I know I have learned. Have you learned?
A lot.
Have you built upon yourself?
Some form of a sandcastle.
And have you grown in any way?
I hope so. I believe so.
You got a few inches to get.
I am. I'm only 5'9".
Well, so from all of us, thank you very much for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow. Chimo.